In my life, you can see what I see. La la la. Life can be only what you make it. When you feel.
The internet was still half awake when Offset pulled a move that felt like a straight-up vanishing act, wiping his Instagram and Twitter in seconds, like he slammed every digital door at once. The switch-up was so sudden that fans turned into investigators instantly, trying to figure out what went down behind the curtain, because no major artist erases every platform in perfect sync unless something serious is bubbling. And with Offset shutting down all the viral screenshots flying around social media, people started side-eyeing the whole thing like the math wasn't matching. It all kicked off with that now infamous screenshot. The one that supposedly showed Offset posting "My kid LOL," a short line that came with a huge cloud of suspicion. Folks online immediately tied it to the rumors floating around about Cardi B's newborn, and that connection had the timeline spinning out fast. The moment that screenshot popped up, it tore through social feeds with crazy speed as fans grabbed it, shared it, zoomed in, and broke it apart like they were running a full investigation. People were studying everything, and the colors, the font, the timestamp, even the tiny blur spots, desperate to confirm if it was real. And because that post vanished almost instantly, disappearing from Offset's story before most people even had a chance to see it live, all that was left were screenshots, theories, and a whole lot of confusion. Even though the post disappeared, the internet had already seen enough to kick off a full-blown storm, and people weren't letting it go. Everyone thought they had just witnessed Offset slip up in a raw, unfiltered moment until everything flipped. Offset jumped in and denied the whole thing, saying the screenshot was fake, edited, and never appeared on his page at all. But that denial didn't cool anything off, thus it did the opposite and cranked the drama even higher. The internet isn't quick to forget something that explosive, and folks weren't buying the idea that such a specific post magically never existed. That was only the warm-up. Not long after, entertainment reporter Lauren Osa came through with the official PR-approved statement, the kind that's shiny, careful, and cleaned up for public safety. It doubled down, saying the screenshot was fabricated, that Offset didn't post it, and that the messages spreading around weren't from him, painting the whole situation as one big misunderstanding that blew up for no reason. The statement wrapped everything in calm wording, saying Offset supports Cardi and wishes her well, which sounded tidy, professional, and super controlled. But when that polished message hit timelines, fans weren't fooled for a second. They caught the mismatch instantly. The vibe of the PR statement didn't line up with the more emotional, heated energy Offset had been showing not too long ago, and people started asking real questions. Offset wiping every trace of himself from social media right after the drama didn't calm anything. It made his denial look even more confusing. People started asking the obvious. If the post never existed, why nuke your whole online presence? Why deactivate if everything is supposedly innocent? Those questions spread fast, and the internet wasn't slowing down for anyone. Folks started digging hard, going through pages, timelines, old posts, anything they could click, and it didn't take long before something new dropped that flipped the whole conversation. People noticed that Offset's brother had allegedly posted "My nephew LOL" around the exact same time the viral screenshot appeared, and that message vanished too. Suddenly, the whole situation felt like a weird puzzle where nothing matched, but somehow everything lined up at the same time. Fans were side-eyeing the coincidence heavy because it was way too specific, way too perfect, and way too close to the same rumor everyone was arguing about. If one post was supposed to be fake, how did the other one show up? And if the whole thing was just misinformation, why did a second message pop up repeating the same idea? Those questions turned into the biggest contradiction in the entire mess. The internet took that and ran with it, pointing out that celebs don't usually deny something this aggressively unless there's something they're trying to keep locked down. And the timing of the brother's message, that made everything feel even more tangled, leaving people convinced there was more going on behind the scenes. Once people noticed the matching posts, everything blew up fast and Offset went all in by wiping every platform clean. Not just one app, but both Instagram and Twitter at the same time. No posts, no comments, no trace of anything, like he slammed every door shut at once. Some fans read that as a straight panic move, shutting everything down because the backlash was getting too loud, especially with everyone arguing about paternity rumors online. Others swore it looked more like calculated damage control, a way to reset the whole situation before the internet twisted it into something even messier. Then an old comment from Offset resurfaced, where he said false accusations were messing up his chances to spend time with his kids, a message full of frustration and real emotion. And again, that tone didn't line up at all with the calm, polished PR statement his team pushed out earlier. That growing gap between Offset's raw personal reactions and the clean corporate wording coming from his camp made everything feel even more confusing, and fans started wondering if two totally different conversations were happening. One behind the scenes, heated and emotional, and another one crafted just to keep things looking controlled in public. Meanwhile, Cardi B was dealing with something on a whole different level, something personal that went way beyond any online chaos. Cardi went live and laid everything out straight, talking about her postpartum experience and how tough the emotional shift had been after giving birth. She described days where she felt extra sensitive, drained, and weighed down, moments where even small things hit harder than they should. She talked about how postpartum emotions can swing all over the place, and how trying to heal while the whole world is watching adds a different kind of pressure. She broke down the stress that comes from snapback culture, where the internet expects new moms to look perfect just weeks after giving birth, like it's some kind of competition. That kind of pressure to stay confident, look good, and keep it together while your body and mind are still healing can stack stress on top of stress at a moment when she's supposed to be resting and getting steady again. She admitted she felt overwhelmed at times and reminded everyone that every mother goes through postpartum in their own way. And the most important thing is doing whatever helps you feel like yourself again. Maybe that's getting your hair done, stepping outside for a breather, or reclaiming little pieces of your routine that make you feel grounded. Her honesty added a whole new layer to everything happening, because when someone is already feeling emotional and vulnerable, misinformation and online chaos hit 10 times harder. When someone's already dealing with postpartum emotions, every bit of speculation hits harder, and online chaos feels way more draining than usual. Cardi being open about her feelings helped fans understand why that rumor, the screenshot, and the timing landed like a punch. It wasn't just gossip, it stacked onto everything she was already managing, and people didn't stop at just worrying about her emotional state. Fans started stepping back and looking at the whole picture forming around both of them. Once they zoomed out from the immediate drama, they began connecting this moment to a bigger pattern they felt they'd seen play out between Cardi and Offset for years. To a lot of folks watching from the outside, this didn't look like some random misunderstanding. It looked like another chapter in a long, complicated story between two people who've lived under a spotlight, with every move picked apart. People started bringing up the history, the past public bumps, the rumors, the reconciliations, the times Cardi stood beside him when things got messy. And suddenly, the conversation shifted. Fans started saying the dynamic felt familiar, like something they've seen play out in real life between couples who keep trying to make things work, even when the pressure keeps stacking. People online started pointing out a pattern they recognized: a partner who acts distant, messy, or inconsistent while the relationship is still standing, but suddenly flips into high-energy emotional mode the moment the other person finally pulls back. Commenters began sharing their own stories, saying this whole situation reminded them of men who didn't fully value their partner while things were calm, but reacted hard when that partner shifted their focus, moved on, or started putting real boundaries in place. Some folks framed it like someone struggling to accept that a chapter might actually be winding down. And the reason that idea took off so fast is because, to a lot of people, the timing fit too neatly. The rumors, the alleged posts, the denials, the account wipe, the polished PR statement, fans felt all of it connected in a way that made the theory look legit in their eyes. Nothing here is confirmed, of course, but online conversations don't always wait for facts. Once people latch onto a narrative, perception starts building its own storyline. And while all that was happening, fans started studying Offset's online behavior in the days before he deleted everything. That resurfaced comment where he talked about false accusations messing up his time with his kids hit people hard because it showed he felt real pressure from the public spotlight, especially when anything involving children gets twisted or dragged into the drama. It made folks look even closer at how he was moving and what he was reacting to, turning his every post and deletion into another piece of the puzzle. He said he wasn't upset at Cardi's reaction, just frustrated about what he felt were unfair posts that could mess with his family time and the holidays. And that made the whole situation feel way more personal than some random celebrity rumor. But even with that explanation, fans couldn't ignore how different his emotional, in-the-moment message sounded compared to the smooth, controlled statement his spokesperson dropped. That split in tone made it harder for people to figure out which version actually reflected what he felt. Some viewers felt for him saying co-parenting, public accusations, and dealing with heartbreak, while the whole world comments on your every move is a heavy situation for anyone. But others weren't as convinced. They said real support isn't about polished statements. It's about showing consistency in your actions over time, not just when things blow up online. All of this created a weird tension on social media where some fans wanted to give him grace while others felt the timing of everything was way too chaotic and way too convenient to ignore. And then another layer to the conversation popped up. People started noticing how often Cardi is the one publicly sharing her emotions, her mental state, and her side of the story, laying everything out in detail while Offset stayed more cryptic or reactive. That contrast made folks look even closer at both of them, and it pushed the discussion into a whole new direction. Offset usually speaks in two extremes, quick emotional bursts or those clean corporate-style PR statements. And that imbalance started becoming part of the bigger story fans were putting together. On one side, you had Cardi laying out her feelings, talking openly about her postpartum journey, her stress, and everything she was working through. And on the other side, you had Offset moving between denials, wiped accounts, and statements that sounded like they were written in a conference room instead of coming from him. That mix had people questioning which version of the story made sense and whether the truth sat somewhere in the messy middle. As things began settling down a bit, the whole discussion shifted from, did he post that screenshot, into something bigger, a look at how chaotic public breakups and co-parenting can get once social media, fan theories, and emotions start piling on at the same time. People pointed out how fast misinformation spreads online, how quickly the internet picks sides, and how tough it must be for anyone, even someone famous, to deal with regular human emotions like sadness, frustration, or regret, while millions of people watch and comment on it in real time. Cardi's honesty about her postpartum experience made fans, especially mothers who related to her struggle, feel more protective of her because she talked about feeling emotional, drained, and pressured to look strong, even while still healing. That openness hit people hard, and it added another layer to everything, making the situation feel deeper than just online drama. People's empathy for Cardi stood in sharp contrast to the doubt surrounding Offset's explanation, especially with the timing of his brother's post and that full wipe of his accounts. But even with all the noise, the truth is simple. Nobody outside their circle knows every detail, every conversation, or every private moment. All the public sees are the posts that go up, the ones that vanish, and the stories that get pushed into the spotlight. That's why the internet ended up split down the middle. Some folks believe Offset when he says the posts were fake and the whole thing spiraled way further than it should have, but others think there were just too many coincidences to brush everything off as one big fabrication. So the discussion stopped being about one rumor or one vanishing screenshot. It turned into something bigger, a collision between real-life emotions and massive online platforms where timing, perception, and reaction all blend into one wild mess. Offset's deleted accounts, the polished PR statement, the old comments resurfacing, his brother's alleged message, Cardi's live about her postpartum emotions, and the long, complicated history between them. All of it stacked together and turned into a storyline that feels way bigger than any screenshot ever could. Whether this whole situation goes down as a giant misunderstanding that grew out of control, or as a turning point in how they handle both their public image and their private lives, is something only time's gonna show. One thing is locked in: fans are watching every move from here on out, waiting to see what Offset does next. Will he slide back onto social media with a clean slate and a new vibe, or finally speak on the situation in his own words instead of letting a spokesperson do the talking? And will Cardi keep sharing pieces of her emotional world while staying far away from the rumors, or drop more context whenever she feels ready? Right now, everyone's on the outside looking in, trying to keep the conversation respectful while remembering that behind every trending post are real people trying to sort out real emotions under a massive spotlight. And that circles back to the main question that kicked off this entire storm. Did Offset delete all his social media because he was reacting to a fake post? Was it frustration with the backlash? Or was the cleanup part of something bigger? Something that still hasn't been explained. No matter where you stand, this whole situation proved how fast a single screenshot can flip the entire public tone of a relationship, leaving fans trying to figure out what they believe and where they land on what really went down.